a really strange thing when it comes to insomnia is that you never feel sleepy. I didn't during my 20 years, and very few of my clients do. And it's such a strange thing because you think, I'm only sleeping 1-2 hours a night. Why do I never feel sleepy? Is there something broken? Is there something wrong with me? And it's such a confusing thing because you think that you should be dropping off in your chair all the time, but you don't. You feel wired, you feel tired, you feel fatigued, you feel like your brain's being gnawed at, like you've had 20 espressos. But that sleepy feeling with your eyelids drooping just never seems to happen. Well, what's going on here? Well, something that is incredibly important to understand when it comes to insomnia, but one of the hardest things to take on board, is that insomnia and chronic sleep deprivation are not the same thing. And I know you think you're chronically deprived. I did too. But these two are very, very different. So what is chronic sleep deprivation? Well, chronic sleep deprivation is a lack of opportunity to sleep. Well, let's say someone who had a deadline for work and for a week, they were only giving themselves 4 hours of sleep opportunity. And you would find with this person that they would literally be dropping off in their chair at meetings, watching this video, couldn't keep their eyes open. That is someone who is chronically sleep deprived. That is not insomnia. People with insomnia, they invariably give themselves far too much opportunity to sleep, spending longer and longer in bed. Very common with people with insomnia to start doing that because they can become convinced the longer they spend in bed, the greater likelihood there is of sleep apnea. Of course, if you've been on this channel for a long time, you know that's one of the worst things you can do, but it's so common. So yes, chronic sleep deprivation. So these people, for example, Navy SEALs during Hell Week, don't recommend it. They're only allowed an hour of sleep per night. The rest of the time, they're running, they're shooting, they're swimming, they're doing all sorts of horrible stuff. And literally, on about the second day, third day, they could be running, dropping to sleep like that. Swimming, where it's incredibly dangerous to fall asleep, dropping asleep, and their instructors will have to pull them out of the water. These people are chronically sleep deprived. And the reason why these people are chronically sleep deprived is that the core amount of sleep that they are getting, the core amount of sleep that the body needs, is not being met. And so the reason why people with insomnia are not, in the vast majority of cases, some people are, but the reason why most people are not chronically sleep deprived is because you are actually getting the core amount of sleep that your body needs, and is often far, far more sleep than you think you are getting. So in my own insomnia, it felt like I was literally getting 2 hours of sleep per night. And I was convinced that's true. I was like, no, I must be only getting 2 hours of sleep per night, because during the day, I feel anxious, I feel stressed, I feel fatigued. I know that all last night I was tossing and turning in bed all night. But actually what I found out later on when I did my own sleep program, and when my clients start working on my sleep program find out as well, is that they're actually getting far more sleep than they think. So why is that? Well, they've done multiple studies with people in sleep labs, with people with insomnia, and they have found that people with insomnia massively underestimate the amount of sleep that they're getting. And part of the reason for that is because the quality of their sleep is very different from someone who is a good sleeper. They tend to have very light, fragmented sleep. They tend to have lots of periods of wakefulness during the night time. And crucially, with people with insomnia, you can still have conscious thoughts and still be asleep. So I've done lots of studies in a sleep lab where they have, in the middle of the night, shook someone with insomnia on the shoulder and asked them, were you just asleep now or were you awake? And that person would swear blind and nothing person know. I was awake, and I have been awake for the past 2 hours. They'd show them, literally 30 seconds ago, you were snoring, so we know for a fact that you were asleep. And that person, they're just being, no, that can't be true. I know that I was awake because I was thinking, about how anxious I am about not sleeping or thinking about work tomorrow or the things that I did wrong in the day. But no, that person was definitely asleep, and that's because you can still have these conscious thoughts and still be sleeping. And that's because people with insomnia have so much anxiety, so much stress, so much worry around their sleep. The brain doesn't allow them, in a lot of instances, to get into these deeper stages of sleep all the time, all because they spend more time in light sleep or in that or in fragmented, poor quality REM sleep. But you are still sleeping. So typically, let's say someone who needed 7 hours of sleep and their core amount of sleep was 5 hours, so only 2 hours less than their optimum amount of sleep. And that's how much sleep they would get, about 5 hours of sleep. If they were to drop below that, then they would be chronically sleep deprived, and then they'd be dropping off in their chair, then they would be dropping off watching this video. So yeah, people with insomnia, the brain, because it's incredibly smart, because it's incredibly adaptable, because it's always trying to do what it thinks is best for you to keep you safe, it will always find a way of getting the core amount of sleep that it needs. Is the core amount of sleep enough to help you feel calm, happy, relaxed the next day? No, it's not. Is the sleep you're getting good quality sleep, or is it broken, fragmented, full of anxiety, full of stress, full of worry, full of wakefulness in the middle of the night? 100%, because this is what insomnia is. It's a poor pattern of sleep that the brain has taken on, and you get very light sleep, you get a lot of REM sleep, and it's very broken, poor quality. But trust me, you are getting the amount of sleep that the body needs to function. You are getting your core amount of sleep. And actually, the core amount of sleep, like I said, person who needs 7 hours, perhaps about 5 hours is the core sleep they need. And yeah, you would know about it if you were chronically sleep deprived, because you literally couldn't keep your eyes open. So that is why you never feel sleepy, because you do not have chronic sleep deprivation. You also, because you've got insomnia and there's so much anxiety, there's so much fear, there's so much control, there's so much worry, this is kind of keeping you in a heightened state of alertness. Fight or flight is often what I use. I talk about it in a lot of my other videos. Hyperarousal, I've used that word as well. So this kind of heightened state of alertness, like you've had 20 espressos. Because there's so much anxiety associated with insomnia, and people with insomnia, 8 more times likely to suffer from anxiety. The brain is always in this heightened alert state, so it rarely lets that sleepy feeling take over, especially during the day. But let me assure you that I know you never feel sleepy, but every single time you have slept with insomnia, even if you've taken a sleeping pill, it's because you've had that drive to sleep. It's because you felt sleepy. So you feel like you never get sleepy, but every time you have slept, you have actually had that sleepy feeling occur. So the takeaway is you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. This can be fixed by rebuilding your pattern of sleep and taking away the anxiety, the fear, the worry, the control around it. And how do you do that? Well, take a look at this video and you will start your first steps to overcoming this for good. Sleepz.com if you want a step-by-step program, if you really want to tackle this properly, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye, 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 bye.